Welcome one and all to another exciting edition of Transformers Reviews. Well, today guys, I'm actually excited to be able to bring you the shattered glass version of Soundwave. Now, I think one of the most striking things about this guy is the fact of how he is the stark white with a much lighter blue than we're used to seeing on Soundwave. However, in addition to the colors, one of the things that I really have always liked about it is just the general mold. Now, as you can see back here with the folded up robot bits, it does offer some storage that, as we saw from the front, pretty nicely conceals it. Now, I actually had the Netflix version, and when you put them up together, I do have to admit that while I do like the shattered glass version, I think the normal Soundwave, he just has a lot more accents and traditional things that help him pop a little bit more, whereas this guy maybe kind of feels like he's a little bit on the bland side. Now, in looking at Ravage and Ravage, I will fully admit that in this mode, these guys are not bad. It's whenever you actually start going to feline mode that I really could care less. But as far as tapes, or I guess what the original Siege intent was, that they were battle armor, I think that works alright, but again, I'm not a super fan of it. So guys, one thing that I'm starting to notice is that Ravage, Laserbeak, and Soundwave, in comparison to their original releases, they're very stark as far as the paint goes. Now, from a canonical standpoint, that's accurate to how they're portrayed in the comic books. However, coming from a more real-world standpoint, for as much as you're paying for this 3-bot set, it kind of feels like you're not getting your full money's worth so far. We'll see how it fares in robot mode, but as far as just the paint apps go, I feel it's a little bit underwhelming. Now, that being said, it does help differentiate him from your standard War for Cybertronian Laserbeak. And you know, again, there's not much to see in these data tape or, as we mentioned, battle armor modes, but again, they'll shine a little bit more when they transform as well. So here we have a couple of the boys in their feline alt modes, and you can probably tell why maybe I'm not a fan of this. I've always felt that despite the cues like the rocket launchers and at least the decent head sculpt, I felt the rest of the body, especially like the part that connects their lower limbs to their body. I understand you're coming from a tape alternate mode, but it just feels a little bit chunky. However, there is a glimmer of hope, because if a certain somebody that just came out in the Studio series is any sort of indicator of what we could be getting with the other tapes, then there's hope for Ravage yet. Now, in looking at Laserbeak and Laserbeak, or like we did mention, you can definitely tell that there's a difference between this boy's paint apps and the original. But you know what? On some sort of weird level, I do like how it looks. But if you wondered how he looked in comparison to the more traditional bird variety of Laserbeak, there you go. And yeah, all three of these guys I really like. So definitely a win on that aspect. However, in returning to the star attraction of the show, you can see our boy has now reached robot mode, sporting his glorious molded headband and all. And I do have to say, as much as I felt that the alt mode was a little bit bland, just taking it on its own accord here in robot mode, it looks fabulous. I do see a little bit more detail. When we put lighting over it, you can see that definitely his eyes light up super well, and guys, I am loving the green on that. So here you can see Soundwave with his fellow heroic Decepticons. So obviously, a lot of them are sporting white, which, I mean, that's kind of a cool departure from, you know, the normal colors that we see, but also a lot of them are sporting this sort of weird blue color. So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but you know what? For these guys, I think it works. And what is a hero without a villain to bounce off of? And as you can see here, the evil forces of the Autobots are engaged in a 3 versus 3 against our heroic Decepticon boys. And I gotta say that Soundwave really bounces off of the evil version of Hot Rod. And oh man, I am just digging how this looks. So anyway guys, that was our look at the Crispy Boy in his white and blue colors. And definitely he's going to be a nice addition to help finally fill out and provide a little balance, I feel, to the Shattered Glass shelves. So I hope you enjoyed that look at Shattered Glass, Soundwave, Laserbeak, and Ravage. And until next time guys, we'll see you in another review.
Soundwave superior, Autobots inferior.